Every time a 2-year-old makes a break or has a bad day, or we've had a bad week, and we didn't have a great week last week with the rookies. Memory and Imagination made a break. Pickpocket was loose on the front end. Insider Trading looked like she got injured, and thank God she didn't. Just so very, very lucky there. But overall, we've had an incredible 2-year-old season. Again, it looks like we tried our hardest, but it looks like we still got at least Sedona Hill and or Purple Aura in the $300,000 final. I would have much rather raced them in the Constellation, but they are in the final. One of them, if not both of them. And it looks like Gypsy Hill also is in there. So I don't have a problem with that myself. I would have rather race all three of them in the Constellation, but it is what it is. Irresistible Sun looks great in the Constellation this year also. And then and he also races in the Buckeye. The reason we wanted to race Gypsy Hill in the Constellation was because he looked like one of the layups in the Buckeye. Just whatever. They earned their way in. They raced good. So we've had a good year in that regard. Memory and Imagination is going to make the final. Pickpocket the final in Kentucky. Militant will make the final of his distinction in Kentucky. And actually, even though he ran, depending on who enters, we may make the final still in Kentucky with Memory and Imagination also. So, it doesn't matter what distinction you race in, where you still have to race good, right? I don't care if it's a prospect series here. I don't care if it's Yuri and My 1%. Any of the fillies or colts. You still have to race. People look down and say, oh, it's only a grassroots. Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. You better buckle up. You think you're going to just waltz in there and, do damage in one of those divisions. It's tough, whether it's Ohio, Pennsylvania, Ontario, New York, New Jersey, Kentucky. Indiana even is tough. Mel Gibswan, third, beat a half a length twice. He could have had literally twice as much made as he has right now if he just had a bigger head. That's all he needed. But there's horses trotted in 56 once or twice now and looked amazing all summer long. So we have had a great year. Let's go through them. AC Swan made a break her first start. She's a very ordinary horse. But we'll see what happens over the next little while. Activation. 5 for 7 wins this year. Going into the Stallion Series. And yes, we have them up for sale. And I think I made a very good case to all my partners in regards to Activation and why I thought it may be beneficial to check out free agency with this guy, so to speak. Check the open market out next week and see how it is. And as I said, him and all the 3-year-olds will all have reserves on them. I'm not giving them away. They are quality animals. But it is the time of year and we start raising yearling capital also. And, sometimes you have to trade away a good rookie to hopefully roll the dice on what might be a better one down the road. So, Activation had a great year this year. He's put just a hair short of 50,000 now, mark of 57. He'll be entering the open market on the preferred sale a week from Tuesday. Affection. I had a very spirited and wonderful dialogue with the Cross family in regards to Affection and what my plans, what I thought. I thought we should turn her out and they wanted to continue to race her, and there's a very, very good argument for both sides. Very good argument. Ultimately, my argument centered around how happy the filly was and how good she raced the other day. And also a component of that was what very little was left for her in 2023. We had the Liberty Bell type things. I forget what the one at the Meadows is called. It'll come to me. Keystone Classic. And then a couple of non-winners of 1 or 2. So my take on it is simple. If she comes back, I know she'll come back pretty good. When she comes back, she's always going to only be able to win the non-winners of 2 once, right? For the most part. Non-winners of 3, non-winners of 4, and away you go. And you want to build that confidence next year and then get her to hopefully stay caliber, right? It's never easy, but you want to get there. And I just thought, ultimately, the way she came out of the winner's circle, I was just so impressed with the way she was playing and throwing her head and sharp as attack. She had interfered and hit her jack this year and blew it up pretty good, but it'll come down. I mean, it's nothing there but bone and skin. It'll come down. And my hope is when she broadens out in her shoulders and, fills out and stretches out, that she won't hit that next year, or at least just brush it a little bit. And we'll see. We'll see. But the argument is there that, she only got 5 starts. We're just scratching the surface. Why don't we push forward? Absolutely. there's a decent argument for that, but I still just come back to, the races you're looking to win now, we are going to win them, right? Unless something happens to her, we're going to win the numbers 2, 3, and 4. Winning them now just means it's harder for her when she comes back, and that was really the final chapter of my synopsis on Affection, and we came to an agreement. She is going to go to the field, and I really love the filly. I not very often you see horses that have a rough summer, and then finally break through with that win, and then just come bouncing out of the winner's circle. Usually they just feel like they did their work, and they're mildly happy about it. This is how it felt to win training sets. You see that, somewhat this might sound stupid to people, but horses like to win too. And they can get very enthusiastic, very sharp. And it's palpable. You can feel it. You can see it. And she just bounced out of the winner's circle, sharp as a tack. And it was just such an uplifting feeling because she had a horrible summer. Got beat up, got sick, then went to Kentucky and bled, come back, put her on Lasix, raced her here. Just to have the mental fortitude to come out and win that race the other day and then be as happy as she was after, that was impressive. It was impressive. Alibaba races for good money, I think, today or tomorrow or the next day, I think, in DeCoin, at DeCoin. So good luck to Jim and all my partners with Alibaba. Arson has been fantastic. I see he's like 9-5 or 2-1 on Monday or Tuesday. Really happy with how he's turned out, and I appreciate the patience from our clients. I did have some people saying I think he's being under-raced virtually, in a nice way. He should be in Pennsylvania. Well, you see now the Pennsylvania horses have gone at 51, 52. He wants no part of them right now. And that was a Stallion Series also. Whereas the C Division in Kentucky gives him an opportunity to get some confidence, right? Get some maturity and some confidence and really stretch his legs out in that big track. He's already paced 52, and his win the other day in 53 was impressive, and I suspect there'll be more behind that soon enough. Blanton's Blue, on the bubble. He's feels like he could be a nice horse, but he's in to go this week too. I'm expecting a good finish from him. We'll see how he finishes his year out. Born to Dance, I almost said he was an underachiever, but he's not. He's a bit of a mongrel in the fact that he's got a dirty mouth on him. And I'll remember for quite a while the night he almost got me in trouble at Northfield, running over everybody. He's just a big, stupid, goofy horse, but there is speed there. There is talent there, and he doesn't have a bad attitude. So I'm hoping he'll grow up and fill out and come back as a pretty decent 3-year-old. As I said to one of my partners today, we wouldn't get in the open market what he's worth right now. That's the easiest way for me to put it. I don't believe we would get fair market value for Born to Dance right now. So why sell him? That's my feeling on him. Chirahola's heading to the sale with Levesque in action on the 30th, so they'll get out on the 29th. Did Not Know is back in now and jogging at Northfield Park. Don't Talk About Bruno is in to go. Must be Tuesday at Georgian Downs, I believe. Drebin out in the field now playing. I have high hopes for this guy as a 3-year-old. This guy showed all the talent. Just God did not gift him with a perfect set of knees, so his knees bothered him a little bit. We were patching, and it was working out, but it just got to a point where I'm like, why? So you want him to trot in 58? Okay, he wins a maiden at Mohawk, and what? He's sore the next day? Just turn him out. And that's exactly what we did. So our boy, Drebin, is out in the field for a little bit. I'll bring him back in. What's it? Let's say he went out August 20th. September. Bring him back in first part of November. Easy in the Turns is back in jogging now. She looks good by all accounts. I assumed she would. She had tons of time off. She's back jogging. Electric Line is back in now. He's jogging at Northfield Park. Flashfly just went out. She's gone out to the field. And although she didn't make a lot of money, and she didn't even take a lifetime mark, I think it was deservedly so. She raced good, showed some pop, a little immaturity in some races, but showed talent. And I think she'll have a pretty good season in 2024 for us. George of the Jungle, he's still at the barn there. I think he needs to go out in the field now. We'll probably pitch him out in the next week or so. Great Bet has been a bit of a surprise for us. He's looked very, very good throughout the whole season. Looked good again his last start. Very happy with him. Gypsy Hill is at the fair on Tuesday. Gypsy and Charmer and Venice are the ones that are keeping me away from qualifying Spitfire overseas, but I think it's well worth it. Hallie in the Clouds is back in jogging now. I believe she's supposed to be anyway. I say this, I'm not positive. I believe she's back in jogging now. If she won't, her arrival is imminent. I'm Fancy Like, fifth the other night, paced 54 last quarter, 28-3, and looked pretty good doing it. Really happy with her. Insider trading, man, you have no idea. I stayed up all night that night. One, because Memory and Imagination and Pickpocket, and then the other filly pulled up lame, was a little bit sore, made that break. I just felt that it was one of the worst days I'd had in quite a while, and it hit me pretty hard. I wasn't like depressed or anything, but just sit there in an angry stupor all night, either trying to watch TV to take my mind off it, but just stewing for the entire night. And I had a 6 o'clock flight the next day. I think I was up at about 2:45. There was no shot I was going to miss the flight. And I really thought that there was a chance Insider Trading may have hurt herself. From what I was being told and what I saw myself in the paddock, I thought there was an outside chance that it was a pus pocket, but she wasn't testing sore on her feet the way that you thought that a horse with a pus pocket would. So I was skeptical if that was it. And if that wasn't it, that meant it had to be a line. And that was it for the season. And depending on where it was and the severity of it, it was just, the whole thing was just, like I said, stewing in my mind. And it was just really hard. It was a hard night, to be honest. And, Memory and Imagination bounced back and is feeling great now. He's going into the final on Saturday. Pickpocket will bounce back. He'll be racing next Sunday. And Insider Trading, sound as a dollar now. It was a plus pocket that blew out of her foot. So it's just funny how horse racing is. You had this horrible day, and then you go out and race a horse, like think of Galaxies, and all these horses just pick you up. And that's the great thing from my point of view about the stable, is just being in such a horrible place and then a day later feeling much better. And that's the good part. Now, as you can imagine, if those days compounded, it wouldn't be so cool, but it just seems like with the talent we have in the barn right now, it's only a matter of time before somebody picks you back up, and I certainly needed it, I can tell you that. International Spy is back in now jogging, looks good. Irresistible Sun looks as good as you could ever ask a horse to look. He looks amazing. Really, really happy with the way this horse has come around this year. J-Port Beach Boy has been pretty good. Not his best effort the other day, but pretty good. Levesque in Action heading to the sale on the 30th. Lonely Lakewood put in one of the best performances of his life. I was super impressed with this horse the other day. Very, very good mile. Oh, excuse me. A very good mile, but a very professional mile, the way he went about it. Very proud of what this horse has become. I wish he had done it 2 months ago, but he's really come forward in a big way. Lover's Play was actually walking on her foot the other day. Needs trimmed, which sounds, just get her trimmed. It's hard because it's hard for her to put weight on the other leg. A lot of rehab in store for this filly, but she's starting to slowly pick up weight. Lauren's just doing such a great job with this filly. I love this filly, and I told everybody, if she doesn't make it back to the races, I'm going to breed her, simply because I loved her tenacity. I loved that bulldog mentality. She was merciless training, and you know what? If you happen to spook her in the barn, she might take a swing at you, and that's just how she was. She was a very tough filly, and if there's going to be a horse make it back from it, it'll be her. So I suspect and hope she will. If she doesn't, she'll be a broodmare for us. I can assure you of that. Mick Paisley, she's done for a little, probably done for the season. She had a little cut. She'd hit the tendon, it looks like, and it blew up a little bit. Under ultrasound, it wasn't bad at all, but anytime you have an issue, as you can imagine, so you have to wait until it's back to 100%. If you don't, you know what's going to happen with that tendon. It's the same as you. Doctor tells you to stay off your torn muscle for 3 weeks and you're back in 5 days. You know how that ends, and that's the same for horses. So Mick Paisley likely done for the season, but not in a bad way, just in a way that it's like, hey, it's going to be done for a little bit. It's just the proximity of the calendar is what it is I guess what I'm trying to say. Mel Gibswan probably continues to be one of the most underappreciated horses of 2023. This is a killer. And I don't know what Ronnie plans on doing, but all those late races, we made him eligible to them because he is in Indiana. So he's eligible to the Houghton. He's eligible to... Now, I don't think he wants any part of TCI, Burke's other horse, but he is eligible to the Houghton. He is eligible to the Breeders' Crown and the International Trot, or whatever the hell else is out there. So we'll see, but he's had an incredible year, this colt. He's been a very, very good horse for us. Memory and Imagination, another great horse for us. Just been had a fantastic year. Can't wait to race him. I really hope he still gets in the final. You might say, Anthony, how's he going to get in the final? Every year, there's always one killer. Nancy Tactor's horse winning 52 the day that in the class that we made a break in. So all year, there's only been one division. Now, there was, I believe, 2 divisions or 1 division of 10 maybe the other day. All it takes a couple of people say, I'm not, no thanks. And we'd be in, but it's not to say that that's likely to happen, but it is possible. Militant will make the final. Looked good the other day. I thought Militant looked good the other day. Really happy with him, and he will make the final of the, whatever the hell you call it, the C division, the incentive C division. Mountains for All, I had a 2 or 3 people emailed me. One person said, why don't we turn him out? Another person said, can we take him home and or turn him out? The other person said, why don't we just race him in the cheaper division? So I'll address all 3. He's absolutely not being turned out, and he is 1,000% not coming back to Ontario. So I'll put those 2 to bed right now. I just don't think it makes sense. I know people, you get something in your head and you convince yourself that it's fact. I've done it my whole life. But one thing horse racing will teach you is it doesn't work that way. Just because you believe something should happen doesn't mean that it's right. And I'm in the same boat. But when it comes to Mounds for All, his break from the trailing post is unfair to him. He was kind of in between 2 horses. That was an unfair position to be in. There shouldn't be trailers in a 2-year-old stake race. And the break on Jody, I don't really know what happened. His first lifetime start. He's never really made breaks before. And the break on Brandon, his first time, I don't know what he was doing. He was just wandered up to the gate and rolled off stride. But he's never looked sore. He's never looked lame. In fact, his second last start, 57-4 last quarter, 27-1, certainly doesn't remind me of any tired horses that I can think of at 2 years old with 7 lifetime starts. So Mounds for All, I'll be quite frank with everybody. Ron Burke is a man of very few words when it comes to his horses. I walked up to him and I said, Colts raced good last night? Yes, they did. The Mountains for All colt, have you sat behind him yourself? No, I have not. 4 more words, says 7 words. I know Adam says he likes him. You know, do you want to keep him in the Sire Stakes? Absolutely. That's 8 words. 3 questions, 8 words. Good enough. Great talk. Thanks. Appreciate it. What are you going to do? It's Ron Burke. Right? It's like telling Taylor Swift, I don't really like how you sing that song. Oh, that's wonderful. Hit the road. Whatever. Get somebody else to sing it. You know, that type of thing. So, he's a funny guy. He's a really dry guy. But if Ron Burke did not get to training as many horses and as good horses and winning as many races as he did by making stupid decisions, I think it goes without saying. And if they decide that Mounds for All stays there, then that's where he's staying. So for all of the 3 that sent messages, I appreciate the emails. He's not getting turned out. He is not coming back to Ontario. And he's going to stay right where he is. And that is the decision that has been made by the person training the horse. And for the 4th person, if anybody asks, no, we're not changing trainers, just so you know, okay? All right, next. No Chance in Hills, jogging good. We got to crowd that lag, kick him out to the field. His injury is healed, but we're not going to re-injure it trying to chase anything for this year. We're going to manage him in such a way to say, okay, we're exactly where we wanted to be now in 2023, given the injury. How do we treat it? It's rehab now. How do we treat it moving forward? What does his prognosis look like, and when do we start back? I think the first thing to do, crowd that lag, give him another week in the stall, put him in Mike's fancy water walker for a week or so, and then out to the field. And that's the plan with No Chance in Hill. Oh Snap You is looking good, continues to jog well. I'll train her again this week. I want to give her enough time jogging, but then get some training miles into her and then see how she is after. The last time we trained her, she was a little sore the next day, which is understandable. But how long did it take her to recover? How long did it take her to become sound? And then chart that. Train her again, give her another 3 days past that point. Train her again. Is she okay? Is she not okay? And I think we can start to see a picture emerge of exactly how good she is, when she'll be fine. And again, the season's over. but I want to put her out in the field sharp, sound, and ready to come back feeling good for 2024. Paycheck Princess is out and will stay out for another little bit. Pickpocket, tough trip for him the other day. I'm sure he'll bounce back, no problem there. Good news is there's no blood, no mucus, and he scoped well. It was just sheer exhaustion that caused him to slow down the last quarter. Prince Charmer raced great his last start. I can't wait to race him. Now he's at a fair this week. I don't care. I still can't wait to race him. Pull the Shoes. Yes, I did notice that Pull the Shoes' full brother is in the sale in Goshen, but I did watch his video and it looked like he might get to his knee, and she gets to both of them, so I don't know. There are a couple of horses I like in the Goshen sale, but since Megan is literally stabled there at the sale at Mark Ford's farm, I'll probably just ask her and Scotty to slide over and take a look at them. There's no need for me to fly in to look at horses at Goshen. In regards to Pull the Shoes, love the filly. Made the final of the Stallion Series. Gonna race her in a maiden on Wednesday. Next, Punch the Clock is fitting in well. She's over in Ohio right now. The reason being, we just thought it'd be easier to rehab her there. She's in the Aqua Treadmill every day, looking good, under constant care of Dr. Latessa over there. We can ultrasound her when we want. We can shock her when we want. We can get her looked at. She's walking sound. She feels great. The plan is to for the Aqua Treadmill for another 6-7 weeks, reassess. If she is 100% sound, then she will go to the field. And by all accounts, it looks like she will be. She looks amazing right now. Purple People Eater looks very good. Very happy with the way she looks. She's going to race in the fair on Wednesday. Ready for Landing is or will be back in jogging immediately, very, very soon. Highly anticipated 2024 season for this colt. I will say it right now, out loud. Really Don't Care, qualified great. Disappointed they don't have the Sire State Constellation to speak of in New York this year. So she is going to either stay in the Meadows and race in the Numbers 2 this week, or she's going to go and race in the Excelsior A division at Batavia. Both I think she'll do very well in. I was very happy with the way she felt with the hobbles on, so we'll see what takes place next week. Rito's Lady, Mario has her. Said he jogged her first trip the other day. He likes her, likes the filly. I like the filly too. So she'll be ready. It's the Huntsville filly. She'll be ready, I don't know, before Christmas. She'll be ready to go. Royal Emerald, she's out in the field now. Not very happy. And to be honest, this is how when you see a horse that struggled at 2, even in 5 or 6 starts, being a little sulky, that's how they sometimes go to the field. And you want to hope that they get over it and come back in good, because that attitude is not going to cut it at the stable or racing when she comes back in. I don't blame her for being a little salty. That's fine. We'll see how she comes back in later on. So again, probably November-ish. Okay, Seasons of Love will come back in soon. I think she's had, I want to give her a good 10 weeks off. So when that 10-week period is up, she'll come back in. Sedona Hill just has looked great this year. I know everybody's pumped. They're going to be pumped that her and Purple People are probably both in the final. I'm not. I would have much rather the Consolation, but unfortunately, they made the final in Ohio. Sunset Acres Girl looks like she's going to make the final. She is the queen of the division right now in Michigan, only beaten once. She beat herself. She made a break that day in wherever fair she was in. She races this week, a Tuesday or Wednesday, in the elimination for the final in Michigan. That final goes for like 90 or 100,000, by the way. Wow. Sweeney just drew a typical old 8-hole for Sweeney again this week coming up. This is the worst drawing horse in the history of horse racing, I'm sure of it. 8-hole again for him this week. 3rd and 6 is back in now. Time is on my side. I'm toying with the idea. They didn't write. I got to do this right now. I want to reach out to Jimmy and Tony O'Sullivan and say, listen, this colt, I was thinking of maybe racing him in the Champlain, but I'm not going to do it if you have nowhere to race him. I'm not racing him in the 5-year-old non-winners of 2 that's going to go in 51. You guys have a bunch of maiden 2-year-old races written. What would be wrong with a non-winners of 2-year-old race being written? If they're not going to write one, I might take him over to the Meadows and race him in the non-winners of 2 over there. I don't know how tough that is either. It's not a very well put together condition sheet for this week, I don't think, if that's the case. I mean, how am I seriously going to prep? You might say, well, if you can't do in the non-winners of 2, you can't do in the Champlain. Well, you might be right. I could just turn him out or take him and about 4 other ones somewhere else, I suppose. I mean, I really would like, and it's impossible. You can't keep everybody happy. I just don't, for the life of me, think I can't understand why you wouldn't have, this time of year, have a non-winners of 2 or 20 or 30 2-year-old race at Mohawk. If you are a maiden in September at Mohawk, you either started in August, or you're not a very good horse probably, or a really unlucky horse. They really should have a non-winners too. Maybe it's on there. Maybe I'm wrong. Vaquero Blue Chip will likely go to the field. I was so I really thought he did enough to make it in the Stallion Series final, and it doesn't appear that he did. And there isn't a whole lot left for him. There might be a non-winners of 2, and then he's a horse I would consider racing in the Keystone Classic. He's trotted in 56 once, if not twice now. So we'll see. Venice Blue Chips in the fair on Tuesday. Victory Blue Chips already gone to the field. Watch Your Mouth has been good. 2 wins and a third. Had a little infection in one of his hind legs. I think it's his left hind. But he's fine now. Harry said his leg looks good now. He'll be in to go soon. He'll be in to go soon. And I'll tell you, one of the horses that impressed me about how their attitude has changed has been Widespread Panic. Here's a horse that was hot and crazy his whole life. Looked quiet the other day. And James said he was at himself, hitting his knees, hitting himself. He said his gait looks fluid, but it is not fluid. He's really skinny too. I think once he grows up and fills out in his shoulders, he'll be really, really good. But man, I'm just so shocked how much he's come around and how much he's matured. Very impressive colt in my mind. Not a killer, but a very impressive colt. And I can't wait to see what he looks like in 2023. We're gonna tinker with the shoes a little bit, see if we can't get him away from his knees and his hind shins. And hopefully we can. He's probably only got 2 or 3 more starts, and then we're going to kick him out and let him grow up. So those are all your 2-year-olds. Man, I think I mentioned a number of horses that have just had a truly great year, to be honest. And we've been very blessed in that regard, and I think it is time soon that we start talking about the sales. I will do that over the next week, and now that we have a little bit of a lull, I will do that over the next week, and it's that time of year. Take care, everybody.